Story 1. Good things come to those who wait after taking a series of actions toward the desired outcome. Story 2. Money does not buy happiness. That may be true, but it makes it easier to live a comfortable lifestyle. Story 3. Everyone deserves a second chance, but some people do not. Nor should their second chance necessarily involve those they have wronged. Story 4. Never take no for an answer. There are times you should take no for an answer and accept it. Stop wasting everyone's time and let go gracefully. It's not going to happen, so move on with your life. Consent is a big deal. No means no. Story 5. Don't go to bed angry. I feel that sometimes you need time to calm down before you can properly respond and talk things through. Story 6. Never burn any bridges. I wish I had burned at least one, also known as boundaries. Story 7. Do not put a wallet or any object into the mouth of a person having a seizure. Doing so can cause broken teeth, choking, or other injuries. Instead, gently roll them onto their side and protect their head until the seizure ends. Story 8. Don't worry. The truth always comes out in the end. Sometimes you have to be brave and put it out there. Story 9. When mothers tell other mothers to wait and see, it can make the outcome 10 times worse for the child because they miss the window for early intervention. Story 10. Keep your mouth shut and mind your own business. Sometimes we need to speak up and stop bad things from happening. Story 11. Forgive and forget. Now, there are some people I will never forgive and some things I will never forget. Story 12. Never give up. Screw that. Learn how to quit while you are ahead so that you do not run yourself into the ground trying to make something work that just will not. Your physical and mental well-being should be put first. Story 13. Do what you love for your job and it will not feel like work. Screw that. Do what pays best and do what you love on your own time at your own pace. I love working on cool cars, but being a mechanic and fixing someone's neglected car with a digital video disc player while they complain about everything I do sounds awful. Story 14. The quote, "If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best," needs to die in a fire for 2 reasons. 1. If your worst is so bad that you identify with this quote, you are the problem. Your worst is terrible and your best is mediocre. Fix your shit. 2. The second part implies that if someone handles you at your worst, they then deserve you at your best. That is wrong. No one gains a claim on another person because they helped during a tough time. My ex did this. I improved a lot during our relationship. At first he helped facilitate that, but then I grew past him. He stopped growing and I did not. And one day I realized I was in a terrible, abusive relationship. As I left, he screamed that he had made me who I was and that it wasn't fair for someone else to reap the benefits of his work. So yeah, fuck that quote and the sentiments behind it. Story 15. I before E, except after C. There are more exceptions to that rule in English than there are words that follow it. It is just bad advice to give anyone learning English, whether they are a native speaker or studying it as a second language. Story 16. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't assume everything based on appearance. But judging appearances can be a useful way to protect yourself from mental and physical harm. Story 17. Fake it till you make it. I don't know about anyone else, but trying to fake confidence makes me feel more anxious, as if I am being disingenuous. Story 18. There is someone out there for everyone. Sometimes there is not. You may grow old and die alone. But romantic relationships do not define you and are not the only meaningful relationships in life. Learn to be happy on your own and to love your alone time and who you are so you do not feel the need to fill that space with someone who does not deserve it just to avoid being alone. Story 19. Getting bullied? Just beat up your bullies. Problem solved. A lot of people are bullied because they cannot fight back. But sure, let me, a girl who is 4 feet 5 inches tall, go to town beating up the jock who is 6 feet 4 inches tall. He will go great. Story 20. Kill them with kindness is a crock of shit. Some people are nasty and rude. You should not have to dull your feelings or give up your ground because of someone who is rude. Match their energy is a better lesson. Give them what they give you. Story 21. You'll never be able to afford to have kids. You just have kids. This was said by a coworker who was a retail manager and was clearly struggling financially. Story 22. Ignore them and they will not stop. They will see you as an easy target, and your involuntary reactions give them the satisfaction. Turning a hobby into a job does not guarantee you will never work a day. Often a hobby does not translate into paid work, and even if it does, you may come to hate it. Find something you are skilled enough at to make a job you do not dread, and keep your hobbies for your free time. Telling someone to just be positive usually means their negative feelings are being dismissed. Money does not buy happiness. It buys basic security, which is a foundation for happiness. Those who can feel secure without much money are fortunate. But most of us cannot rely on chance to keep us fed, clothed, and warm. Story 23. Never say it is not your job. They will pile work on you. Story 24. Imagining everyone in their underwear does not help when public speaking. It distracts you as you try to hold that image and your presentation in your head. Useful tips. 1. Use the space. You do not have to stand in one spot. Walk around in front of the board or podium. Moving gives the impression that you own the space, boosts your confidence, and conveys authority to the audience. 2. Use bullet points on slides, not full sentences. If you read full sentences from your slides, it feels unprofessional and increases nervousness because the slides become a crutch. Put citations and facts on note cards. Rehearse the rest ahead of time or be prepared to improvise. 3. Keep your audience engaged. If you only read from the screen, the audience may seem to judge you. Alternate between addressing the back of the room and individuals. Treat your speech as a conversation. Occasionally pick an audience member and speak directly to them. Making eye contact helps you forget the crowd for a few seconds so it feels like just you and one person. 4. Mind your speech. Pause regularly to breathe and maintain a steady pace to avoid rushing. Project your voice so people can hear you and so you feel more confident. If you lose your place, say one moment, take a drink of water and a few deep breaths before continuing. Avoid caffeine right before you present. It can make you jumpy. 5. Remember you are in charge. The audience is the one in the room with you. Make it fun. If you are passionate about a topic, enjoy sharing it. If the topic is dull, smiling can help you feel more positive. Dressing in a favorite outfit and accessories can boost your confidence. Imagine the audience admiring your outfit rather than judging you. Story 25. My approach is fake it till you make it. Eventually you will either reach a breaking point and cannot keep faking, or you will naturally fit into what once felt fake. Story 26. Insert an expensive, unsubstantiated wellness trend to avoid illness. Story 27. As long as you both love each other, everything will be all right. Love is not always enough. Both people need to choose one another. A relationship takes work. You cannot have a one-sided relationship where one person does nothing and the other does everything. It has to be 100% from both sides. Choosing to love someone can be the hardest thing to do. I watched my father cheat on my stepmother multiple times. While it took her time to learn to trust him again, she never stopped loving him. She chose to love him. If you are not being fulfilled, it is okay to leave. You do not have to stay just because you love someone. It takes more than love. Story 28. You have to forgive, especially when "in order to heal" is attached to it. I absolutely refuse to pretend something never happened, sweep it under the rug, and never acknowledge it again to spare the feelings of a person who consciously chose to hurt me. They know what I've been through and that I can't take any more. Yet they choose to add to my pain and make me feel even worse. I'm an asshole for it, but I don't forgive. All forgiveness does is let monsters feel good about themselves while they continue to hurt others. Story 29. Get rid of your debt as soon as possible. Sometimes it is better to follow the proposed payment timeline and keep a healthy emergency fund than to throw it all at one debt. Story 30. Don't attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity. This is bad advice when dealing with salespeople, politicians, or large companies. Story 31. Sleeping with or seeing other people after a shitty breakup is honestly extremely unhealthy and toxic. Story 32. Don't cry. Yes, do cry. It's a great coping mechanism. Story 33. Many people think neti pots are a good idea, as long as you do not use the squeeze or high-pressure irrigation types. If you already have sinus problems, as I did, I do not recommend putting water up your nose. The water may not come back out, and infections can become much worse. Story 34. Let them fire you. Do not quit. Unemployment does not pay much. If you have been fired from every place you have ever worked, you are going to have a hard time finding work. Story 35. Do not write your passwords down. There is very little crossover between the people trying to access your credit card information online and the person breaking in to steal your toaster and PlayStation 5. Story 36. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. No, the squeaky wheel gets replaced. Story 37. God never gives you more than you can handle. Absolutely. All the time. Story 38. When speaking in front of a crowd, I picture people in their underwear. It just gives me an erection and makes me more awkward. Story 39. If you have extra money, invest in a home and lease it out. There is a giant asterisk at the end. The property should not be located across the street from a school, should not have been built in the 1970s, and it should have had all its appliances recently updated, or else it is going to be a sinkhole of money. Fuck all the boomers who told me I was making a dumb decision getting rid of my home, that air conditioning unit was about to die, and that neighborhood was shit. Story 40. You cannot know what love is until you love yourself. Effing garbage. My heart shivers every time I hear this or a derivative, and I think about how many people have gone through life believing they do not know it, or worse, feel unlovable because they cannot get past their own self-loathing. Story 41. You should learn to lower your expectations, often said in response to feeling hurt, disappointed, or betrayed by the callous actions of, say, a friend or relative. What kind of doormat-making advice is that? To the contrary, in almost every instance when I was told that my expectations should have been much higher. As the old adage goes, you train others how to treat you. When it comes to common decency, expecting less is an open invitation to receiving less. Story 42. You'll find someone is good on paper, but depending on who says it, it can feel unhelpful. Story 43. Hard work can help you achieve many things, but without proper direction, support, and knowledge, it is ineffective. Working more than necessary can also harm you in many ways. Story 44. Never go to bed mad as marriage advice. Yeah, because sleep-deprived people make great decisions. Story 45. Just be yourself. It is called building character because you are constructing a persona. Literally, no one wants you to be your authentic self. In fact, society at its most fundamental level is an agreement among people not to be who they really are. Success is derived from your ability to create a role for yourself. Story 46. When people say violence isn't the answer, I'm sorry, but there are times when violence is the answer, especially if someone is threatening to beat me up in the street. I'm all for trying to de-escalate the situation, but unfortunately there are people in this world you simply cannot reason with. No matter how much compassion and empathy you show them, a good beating to put them in their place is the only option. Story 47. Be yourself. If you are in any way neurodivergent, this advice will serve you poorly. Story 48. Whatever does not kill you makes you stronger. People undergoing chemotherapy might disagree. Story 49. You have nothing but time. You are probably extremely poor and have less time than the average person. Laughing out loud. Story 50. Be a man, something like that. I don't know what it is supposed to do. Story 51. You do you. Sometimes doing you can lead you down a bad path. Story 52. Love is a choice. I understand what they are really getting at, but many people think it means that to find the right spouse you should choose someone you like, someone who is a good person and will be a good parent, and then choose to love them. No, showing your spouse love every day is a choice. Falling in love in the first place is not a choice. You need to wait until that happens before you choose someone. That is my opinion anyway. I married someone I am truly in love with, and being married is the most wonderful and magical thing. Story 53. Fake it until you make it. I think it's best to just be yourself. Story 54. The grindset culture is damaging to society because it normalizes this lifestyle as a long-term plan. People are not meant to put all of their time and energy into work and fitness. Humans need downtime and the chance to do things they enjoy without fear of judgment. You are not lazy because you like to lie in bed for a while each day. It is part of being human, and it is not right to expect everyone to be doing something productive 100% of the time. Story 55. Do not go to bed angry. I absolutely disagree. Sometimes people need space before communicating or a pause in the conversation because it is not going anywhere. I have also found that a snack helps too. Story 56. How can you expect anyone to love you if you do not love yourself? People who say this mean well, but they do not understand how damaging it can be for people who lack self-love. Story 57. You should be able to talk to anyone about something they do that hurts you, and they will listen and change. Some people simply do not care about others, and some do it deliberately. This is often true of family members and, oddly, coworkers. People say, "She's your mom, just go talk to her." They must have your best interest at heart, but they're family. No, enough. Don't you think the first thing we tried was to talk it out? How many times must we tell someone they hurt us? 15? 117? Story 58. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This does not make sense and perpetuates the societal idea that work and money determine the value of human life. Story 59. The statement "we need to put the past behind us and move forward as a family" is an outright manipulation tactic if used without acknowledgement of wrongdoing, genuine remorse, and a concrete plan to address and improve the behavior. Story 60. You have witnessed a horrific event? Play Tetris and you will avoid post-traumatic stress disorder. I keep seeing this on Reddit and apparently there is some iffy science behind it, but it is so dumb. Playing Candy Crush or June's Journey will probably take your mind off it too. There is nothing magical about falling cubes. This bugs me even more than that Reddit classic. Your brain is not fully formed until you are 25. Story 61. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Like what the heck? Names can hurt more than physical pain in most cases. I hate this saying. Story 62. Anything involving the phrase good debt. For the average person, avoiding debt entirely is the best option. Story 63. I read a Reddit post some time ago and am paraphrasing it. Phrases that claim overweight people are beautiful or that beauty is on the inside can be unhelpful. They rest on a poor premise and promote flawed values. Society defines beauty narrowly, and being overweight is often unhealthy and not considered beautiful by current social standards. That does not make overweight people unworthy. A person's worth is not determined by appearance. Character is at least as important, if not more so. Story 64. Get a credit card to build your credit score. Most people who give this advice seriously misunderstand how financially illiterate others are and how terrible those people are with money, especially when they get a magic little card that lets them buy whatever they want without ever paying for it. Story 65. Home coffee enemas are said to be beneficial for overall health. In reality, they are very hot and can cause severe burns. Story 66. Practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect. Story 67. Wait to have children. Childcare, health insurance, housing, and college are not going to get cheaper. The only thing you accomplish is wasting your fertility years and being older when you are trying to keep up with a toddler. Story 68. Don't go to bed angry. Sometimes sleep is more important than prematurely dismissing emotions that are valid. Story 69. Never go to bed mad. Sometimes we are not going to resolve this argument tonight, and it would be better for me to try to sleep it off rather than continue to dig in. Story 70. You shouldn't be sad. I'm not choosing to be sad. It's how I react to things that sadden me. Story 71. Eat your Wheaties. I fucking hate Wheaties. They taste like shit. Story 72. This thread contains, among other things, a lot of good advice that people do not seem to understand. Story 73. Get another pet to accompany the one you have to fix issues. Story 74. The saying that if you do what you love, you will never work a day of your life is incorrect. You will work a little every day and lose it as a hobby. It is much better to find a way to love what you do. Story 75. Don't go to bed angry. My spouse and I learned early on it's better to talk about things after we've rested than to try when we're exhausted. Go to bed angry. While you're at it, drink some water and have a snack. Story 76. If you are thinking about getting married, you are better off sticking your hand in a deep fryer at your local McDonald's. Story 77. Live it up and sleep around. Herpes sucks, and you have it for life. Story 78. Curiosity killed the cat. The full saying continues that satisfaction brought it back. Shortening the proverb convinces people that it is better not to ask questions, which I do not believe is true. Asking questions and learning new things opens your mind in many ways. That is why satisfaction brought the cat back. Story 79. Live and let live downplays the complexity of human conflict and its resolution. To me, it is a cop-out from actually giving someone advice that pertains to their situation. Story 80. The belief that you should never touch a baby bird because its mother will abandon it is a complete myth. It was invented to discourage children from handling wildlife. If you find a baby bird that needs help and you believe you can assist, do so. Do not be afraid to touch it. Story 81. Just wait and love will find you when the time is right. Fuck that. Don't end up like me, pushing 40, waiting for love that never came. Story 82. Calm down. As a person with anxiety, this will not work. I will just be anxious and upset. Story 83. Women and men want the same thing. Story 84. Never go to bed angry. Sometimes a fresh perspective and some cooling down can be really beneficial. Story 85. You do not have to carry a balance on your credit cards to raise your credit score. I hate hearing people say that. It is not true. Story 86. When young children are told at school that we are all friends, that these are your friends, or that they should be friends with everyone, we need to be careful. Teach children to be friendly to everyone but reserve the title friend for people who have proven themselves worthy. I have spent countless hours explaining to my children and others why some friends treat them badly. Can we teach children to be open to new friendships while being discerning about who earns that honor? Story 87. Go talk to her. Just be yourself. Oh, fuck off. I don't start conversations with other people, especially not attractive women. Story 88. Do not care about what other people think. No, feedback from your peers is a good thing. If everyone you know says you are being an asshole, you probably are, and you should change your behavior. Story 89. People tell couples not to go to sleep angry. I don't know about everyone else, but I get so grumpy when I am tired, which makes arguments worse. There have been several times when my spouse and I went to sleep angry and then woke up and laughed it off, realizing we were both just tired. Story 90. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Albert Einstein. No, that's called practice. Story 91. Have a job you are passionate about, and you will never work a day in your life. However, it can still feel like work. Story 92. Be yourself. Screw that. Change your personality in any given situation to get what you want. Story 93. Oh, a slight inconvenience? Breaking up is the solution. Goddamn apes. Story 94. Family is everything. No, family consists of people and sometimes they are shit. You should not have to deal with it. Story 95. Why fix it if it is not broken? Just because something works does not mean it performs well. Periodic review is necessary. Story 96. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's literally why book covers have designs on them. Story 97. Everyone has the right to believe in whatever they want. That is how you get theocracies. Story 98. Kill them with kindness. If someone is unkind to you, you can stand up for yourself. Story 99. Don't go to bed angry regarding disagreements with your partner. Learn their communication style. Sometimes it's not, I need to fix this now, but quite the opposite. And a better conversation can happen in the morning when you have both cooled down. Story 100. You might want to vent, but that can often make things worse. Do something to distract yourself from what is bothering you until you have a clear, rational head to deal with it. Story 101. Stay in school. Go to college. I laughed out loud when I learned in my late 20s that electricians earn twice as much as accountants with a bachelor's degree. Story 102. The statement that the definition of insanity is trying something over and over again expecting different results is inaccurate. Repeating an action until we get it right is how we learn, develop skills, and achieve success. Story 103. Don't worry about what experts say. Trust your instincts. Then blame the system when everything goes wrong. Story 104. Money is not the ultimate objective in life. For me, the best way to enjoy life is to be happy, entertained, and productive. Life is not all about making as much money as possible. Money is a tool to help achieve your goals. It is like a hammer used to fix a small problem, not the purpose itself. Story 105. Do not go to bed angry. You will not resolve the issue at 1 a.m. when you are exhausted and upset. Sleep on it and give both you and your partner space to clear your heads and address the issue when you are rested. Story 106. That which doesn't kill you can still fuck you up for life. You only live once. For real, it has consequences. Story 107. When interacting with the police, you should generally speak with them. Story 108. That opposites attract or that they are good for each other. Holy shit, did I let too much happen in my 20s because of that little nugget? Story 109. Never go to bed mad. Sometimes you just need to sleep a little and you will have a new perspective in the morning. Story 110. Trust your gut, especially when making decisions about others or entire situations. Story 111. A home is often called a good investment, but that is not true. Homes are consumption items that require significant additional resources to maintain. Story 112. Just be yourself. No, some people have enormous personality flaws. Story 113. This is so pathetic. You make things better by yourself. Betterment doesn't materialize out of thin air. If you can't make things better, you will, sooner or later, have to learn to deal with me. Story 114. But they are family is not an excuse to let them fuck with you. Story 115. Be safe. It seems that people have bought into the idea that it is always best to be conservative. Sometimes it is best to go out on a limb. Story 116. Happy wife, happy life. Get out. My hopes and dreams have been discarded. The best I can hope for is a frictionless marriage. Story 117. I am not the first to say this, but the phrase, "you cannot love others until you love yourself," is oddly guilt-focused and unhelpful. A clearer way to put it is that if you do not have a robust, healthy sense of self and confidence, you may be likely to believe people who say they love you but do not actually care for you, or you may have adopted unhealthy relationship habits. Story 118. The phrase "everything happens for a reason" can be harmful. It often dismisses the real struggles and suffering of people, making it seem as if they should simply accept whatever happens instead of working to change their circumstances. Story 119. Do not go to bed angry is poor marital advice. Sometimes you need to let emotions simmer down before discussing an issue with a clear head. If you try to resolve the issue before bed, it may escalate or keep you awake and cost you sleep. Let it go until morning. Story 120. If you do something you love, you will never work a day in your life. I have several friends who took outdoor biology jobs because they like the outdoors. Only a couple still do it. The rest quit because anything you have to do can start to feel like a job, even things you once enjoyed. One friend who says that also claims that money does not matter to her, yet she constantly complains about not having money and about having to work outside in extreme weather all the time. Your job does not have to be fun. Do something you do not hate that pays well, and you will be much happier in the long run. Story 121. Don't assume. It makes an ass out of you and me. You have to assume when you do not have the details. It is good to try to get more information, but often situations do not provide a full picture. If you do not assume, you will be paralyzed and make no decision, which is still a decision. Story 122. Many things posted here make sense in a certain context. Blanket statements do not apply to every situation. 80% of the time it works. Story 123. If you don't love yourself, you can't truly love someone else. Story 124. Forgive but never forget. I honestly believe not everyone deserves forgiveness, and I do not like the idea that people feel pressured into forgiving those who wronged them. Story 125. Do what you love, and you will never work a day in your life. No. If you turn your hobby into your job, you will simply grow to hate it. Story 126. I'm an average guy of 21. I don't care about fashion or trends, but I get annoyed when people tell me to change my hairstyle or pay more attention to my appearance. I've also been told more than once that I should find a girlfriend because they think I am doing something wrong. What the hell? I'm fine without a girlfriend. This is my life, and I will decide when to look for a soulmate. Why are so many adults so obsessed with me finding a girlfriend? When I was 16, I had my first girlfriend. We dated briefly about 3 weeks, and I started university that same year. I will not explain the reasons for the breakup because there is nothing to tell. Story 127. Just be yourself. At least from my experience, that is terrible because it is how I wound up alone in the first place. Story 128. Just be yourself, especially when you are neurodivergent. Suddenly, being yourself is wrong because it is not considered normal, and you have to pretend to be like everyone else. You cannot tell someone to be themselves and then be upset when they are not what you expected. Story 129. Eat small portions every 3 to 4 hours. That is going to affect your insulin. Story 130. There is a Spanish saying that translates as, "It is better to stick with the bad you know than the good unknown." And I hate it because, yes, change is scary. But if what you know is bad, is it not worth trying to change, even if you do not know the outcome? Are we expected to be miserable just because we at least know? Story 131. There's no such thing as a soulmate, and you should pursue your desires. All right, I'll treat you like you are not insane. When all is said and done, find someone you can trust. Imagine moving to Los Angeles instead of New York to pursue your dreams only to end up brushing your teeth with the wrong brand new toothbrush when there is no other toothbrush available. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.